Well, welcome, young and old, to the greatest escape room show. This is Puzzle Talk. I am Tone, and I am here, as always, with a few associates. So say hello, Mike and Frank.
Hi, everybody.
So welcome to the party. As always, we have lots and lots of topics to go over, so we will mostly be jumping right in. It is a absolutely horrendous weather day here in New Jersey, where we're streaming from. And we have a massive amount of work to do on the Greatest Freak Show today. So we'll be jumping to hit the bricks on that literally as soon as we're done with this.
At 2:01.
So I guess we'll jump right in. This was a story that we talked about that Frank really kind of had the focal point on because he's played it. So we've titled this segment, Harry Potter Down.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I was saying last week, it did seem like the Harry Potter Wizards Unite, the kind of spin-off of Pokemon Go, did not quite have the momentum that Pokemon Go did. And I read an article this weekend from on Mic.com MIC.com, that basically reinforced the stuff that I was saying, that it kind of gets boring right away. It's kind of just a rehash of Pokemon Go. And ultimately, it's not doing as well as Pokemon Go did. It's not nearly as hot as when Pokemon Go came out. It was fire, and it's just not getting there.
What I read on the article was that basically this was just literally a skin. That
Right.
For all intents and
ultimately, that's what
purposes,
it feels
has
like.
the same navigation, the same menus, the same functionalities. It's literally just the Harry Potter world as a skin on top of.
And they did a really good job on the Harry Potter world elements, but the game itself is so basic and such a rehash of Pokemon Go that it just doesn't hold the interest like Pokemon Go did when it was out and it was original.
Right.
Well, there was something so simple about Pokemon Go, too. You just walk around and you throw Pokeballs at Pokemon and you catch the Pokemon. This one, you have to walk around to get life. Stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to get your energy, and there's not as much patience to get energy as there was to get Pokeballs.
It just sounds like a slightly more tedious version of a game that didn't need to be tedious.
Right. That's a pretty good way to put it, actually.
I think what I was also finding was that a lot of this game is sitting more in the world of Fantastic Beasts.
Not really. There's some of that, but I mean, and you would think as it goes on, as another Fantastic Beasts movie comes out, I'm sure there'll be a lot more Fantastic Beasts content. But it takes from all eras of Potterdom.
But I think a big issue, I saw they announced that there's a potential Harry Potter TV show coming to Warner Media.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure at Comic-Con there's probably going to be more announcements about what Warner's digital streaming service is going to be and how it's probably going to absorb DC Universe.
Right.
So that the shows that they're saying are kind of going to live on, like Titans, Young Justice, not Swamp Thing,
no Doom Patrol, which is the single best show that they've ever had.
Yeah, but I would almost suspect that you're going to see Titans and Doom Patrol sort of merge.
Maybe.
Because Cyborg's going to Titans either way. But regardless, to not go offhand there, but the big element that it kind of seems is that if you don't have that original core cast that ignited the Harry Potter fandom, does anyone really even want this?
The TV series,
right?
Yeah.
The TV series, the app. Well, I mean, the app is not doing financially well compared.
The app has elements of that because it takes place after the movies. So you have an older Harry Potter is one of the people guiding you, and you have to get stuff from, instead of Pokemon, you get stuff from Harry Potter history. So there is
the
that
older
element.
Harry Potter.
It looks like Daniel Radcliffe.
Drawn.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like a video or anything, but it's the graphics are very good, but it's not him.
Because I kind of feel like that's another element right there too, is that you kind of people want that cast.
Maybe.
And the plays do fine when it was in London and now in New York,
Yeah.
and that's a different cast.
Fantastic Beasts, not as good of critical reviews but I think their box office has been pretty good.
It's nowhere near what the Harry Potter movies
No, I don't think
were.
it was, but it's still doing well.
And on the same element there, the plays don't have to bring in nearly the audience because the tickets are astronomically priced. So you don't really truly know if it's even nearly as popular as the Harry Potter franchise movies were with Daniel Radcliffe.
With video games, it's like you already have the audience who just likes to play those kinds of games, and for theater, you have people who just like going to the theater.
Right.
Making a TV show is a whole kind of different ballpark, because now you have to kind of accommodate for the fan base that's kind of sort of already there, but then you also have to accommodate for the people that don't have an interest in having these streaming services. Like, I have a friend of mine who just doesn't want Netflix, so he's totally clueless as to what's on Netflix. Some people just don't want to deal with having to download an app to watch this stuff, especially if it's like one show.
I think a lot of the Harry Potter show's success would be like what era it's placed in, because it just said it's in the Wizarding world. It's not a rehash of the movies. It's not going to have the original cast, probably.
Right.
So, like, what era is it going to be in? Is it going to be a spin-off of Fantastic Beasts? Is it going to be something that took place somewhere in between? Is it going to be something that takes place after? There's no word on that yet. So, like you said, by Comic-Con, I'm sure there'll be New York Comic-Con. I'm sure there'll be some more information on that.
Yeah, San Diego's in a couple weeks. So
yeah.
I'm sure we'll get some stuff about that as well.
Oh, I thought that already passed, but okay.
No, San Diego's come end of July, I think.
Oh, okay, I thought it was end of June, but you're probably right.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye out and see how this progresses. What's kind of cool is this episode has a couple intellectual properties that are veering into the puzzle world to a degree.
Yeah.
So, but in other news, this ended up brought to our attention over the last week. So we wanted to take a moment to kind of explain some things and get into the discussion of it. So Amazing Escape Room is apparently coming to Red Bank, New Jersey for 5 years now.
I was going to say, it's been an awfully long time since they announced that.
Yeah.
So, look, there's a couple things here. One, we absolutely know for a fact that has never been a case, because we have friends at the township. There was never anything filed for any approach by them whatsoever.
It wasn't even an attempt to do that.
Right. Two, Red Bank does frown upon multiple businesses of the same, especially in the recreational space. You're not going to see, a duplicate business of Yestercades. You're not going to see a duplicate business of even Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. You're not going to see a duplicate business of Trapdoor. Not to say that this would be a duplicate, because we are in a little bit of a different business space, but it's not going to happen. So a little bit of context as to why this is probably there. For anyone that is not familiar with SEO, that is search engine optimization. And the idea is that when someone searches escape room, you want to be able to come up in those searches. Now, Google's algorithms change every single year, if not every quarter, it seems lately. And part of that algorithm now is that Escape Room Near Me ranks higher than almost anything else. As a result, companies have been able to lower their AdWords budgets, AdWords being campaigns you pay for, so you're paying per clicks and impressions. And essentially, as long as you show up on the map for Escape Room Near Me, or if you come up as a registered list of that element, it helps you in your rankings for free, or at least whatever the cost was in overhead for you to SEO your site. They're listed as coming soon to a few locations that they're not in or have been in for a very long time now. So essentially what they did was, instead of radius advertising, which ends up costing more, it seems that they're just listing themselves as coming soon and having landing pages for those towns with no context or future plans to actually be there. And I'm sure that if Howard was asked today, he would say, oh yeah, we are coming to Red Bank, 100%, absolutely. But it's been 5 years that this page has been up.
Yeah.
There was a point where he and I had actually spoken about this page, and it was supposedly coming down.
Did it ever come down? Do you know?
I don't really remember.
Check?
I don't remember enough to say factually whether it did or didn't. Now, it's not the first time that there has been some shady issues through Amazing Escape Room. Other escape room reviewers have actually written articles about their practices and spoken publicly about their practices. I don't even know if necessarily it's the owner of the company, because they franchised out and opened several locations pretty quickly. So management in each territory could kind of have its own governing rules with the staff. But we do know that some of those governing rules with the staff included fake reviews and sending people into locations to kind of try to poach customers. That happened to us with a gentleman named Adam, who is a staple of the escape room community. And, you could say he acted on his own behalf or whatnot, but, the fact of the matter was
it's very shady.
He came in poaching customers to go to Amazing Escape Room in Freehold, and it just so happened those customers he was trying to poach were customers that had already played. This was their third time with us, and this was when we only had our second game.
Yeah.
Right.
So they played Architect twice, and they were in for the first time to play Cure Z.
So they were nice enough to inform us
that
that's what was happening.
Then there was another gentleman who was actually doing installations for them, because at the time they were buying all their games, they weren't making any. I don't know if that has ever changed or not. Everybody knows how I feel about buying versus making your own. But this guy got stiffed on the bill for finishing the work. But beyond that, actually came into Cure Z and said that he was asked to come in and spy ideas off of Cure Z, and he wasn't comfortable with it, so he let me know up front. It's too many pieces, for it to all be fake.
Right, yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, we've all talked about this as far as other, when I say all other escape room owners collectively, we always talk about the fact that we all feed off of each other. And when...
Without crossing lines.
Right.
Yeah.
So really this is just a discussion of business ethics. If you're an aspiring owner watching or, looking to get into the industry, you don't need to claim you're opening in towns that you're not opening in.
Right.
And if they're coming to Red Bank, then by all means, I welcome the competition, because we'll put you under in a month. But, it's really just a matter of, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
We've gotten along without doing it just
there's
fine.
Still enough room that you don't have to have these underhanded practices to try to...
Even room or not, just be better.
Yeah.
That's all it really takes. And there's plenty of people that I will attest to this 100%. There's plenty of people that like their content far more than ours. And just like there's plenty of our diehard fans that absolutely hate their content.
Yeah.
Different strokes, different folks. They are definition escape room. We are not. So that's where I was saying earlier, we're not necessarily competing in the same space. We're almost a more immersive theater hybrid. They're straight up escape room. You will find time clocks in all their rooms. There's probably push button exits on every room, because it's the actual locked in mode situations and stuff like that. And I haven't played with them for a while, so maybe they have expanded upon that and they're doing things differently there too. I don't know. But regardless of the fact, is all I'm saying is, we don't need to be I don't want to say that competitive, because I don't find that as competition. I find that as bad business ethics.
Yeah.
So don't go by those practices, because otherwise we will put it on Puzzle Talk.
I mean, if you play enough of these games and you talk to enough people who have played all of these games, so many things repeat, like puzzle elements and stuff like that. So I mean, trying to infiltrate another business to copy their puzzles is kind of, I mean, their puzzles are going to repeat no matter what. So trying to do this covert operation to steal other people's puzzles is kind of arbitrary, because it's the context that makes all the difference. The puzzle
should be,
I mean the puzzle could be exactly the same, in its most basic elements, but how we employ it from company to company is radically different. People point out sometimes with us that this puzzle reminds them of something else from another one that they've played, and that's fine. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. But treating it like this is some sort of clandestine operation where we have to sneak into other people's businesses and bribe other people to find out what kind of puzzles they have. It's just, it's just like out of the way silliness. Just come and play the game, and if you like what we do, have at it. I guess no one's stopping you per se, but
No, I know for a fact that some of our puzzles have shown up in other games, like very direct adaptations.
Sure,
and not at amazing either. We have friends that our puzzles have shown up with.
I don't necessarily think that's an avoidable situation,
right?
But making it a thing. Intentionally doing that under the guise of it being like this, we're gonna go steal trapdoors, puzzle designs. It's just like the Cold War's been over for like 30 fucking years. I mean, let's.
That's it's like high school, college pranks.
Yeah, just rip it off.
I don't. Like I said, I don't. Now, actually, though, Mike, but before I lose train of thought, the one differentiator in the situation too, though, was all those events. Let me put context to this. None of that stuff has happened recently. That was all stuff that happened back in 2016.
Yeah. When
Cure Z first opened, and the rest of the escape room industry feared us when Cure Z opened. That game was a game-changing, record-breaking numbers game. So everybody wanted to know how we were drawing that crowd. Even when we were at the conference, we had other owners saying that players were showing up in their place talking about Trapdoors Cure Z.
Yeah.
So, love or hate that game, and plenty of people did not like the Red Bank version, and plenty of people diehard loved it and still talk about it. So, like everything we do, because we're story-focused, you either love a story or you don't.
Yeah.
But regardless, everyone wanted to see what the hype was about with Cure Z.
But, I mean, that's natural. So
these poaching techniques and unethical tactics were happening back then.
Yeah.
And we had really kind of privately discussed that situation, and it stopped. There was never anything beyond that. This could be as simple as their web developer, just for SEO, was like, oh, here's a page that wasn't deleted, but it's in our database. Let's put it up online. Yeah. This may have nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
I am trying to make that perfectly clear. But on the same token, it's like, it's been up here for 5 years. How many other locations are you coming soon to for the last 5 years?
Yeah.
We market worldwide because now, especially with Escape Stream, we are worldwide, bitch.
But we don't pretend that we're physically coming to
right.
Con.
We don't put up like coming soon to Nebraska.
I mean, technically we're coming to Nebraska if you live in Nebraska, but we're not physically moving to Nebraska.
Right. We could technically say we're coming soon to every single town in the world.
Well, like I said, we're here. We're there already. We're not even coming
soon. Can stream anywhere. But that's not a physical location. That's not where we're actually...
now we're coming to everywhere in the world.
Right. So, it's like, understand the ethics and play by the book a little bit.
Yeah.
So now that we've got that out of the way, introduce you to a different side. Introducing Zunder. Frank had the idea of doing like a weekly...
Yeah, I think what we're gonna start doing for the next few weeks is profiling a different character every week, for a character from our freak show. And I thought a perfect place to start would be with our ringmaster, Tone Zunder. You met him a little bit last week or was it the week before maybe, because Tone actually had the costume on because we were filming. But today we're gonna get into a little bit of the background of the character, the story of the character. And
welcome, young and old, to the greatest old freak show. I'm Zunder, and I need no introduction, Frank.
I'm going to introduce...
A little late for that.
I kind of already did introduce him. But the way I figure it, the way I've always looked at Zunder is he's kind of like world's greatest man. The most interesting man. He's been everywhere. He's done everything. At least he claims to have been everywhere and done everything.
What are you trying to say?
But he is a showman, so you kind of got to take things like that with a grain of salt. However, he has traveled far and wide searching for his oddities, and he has gathered together a very interesting collection of oddities. So, got to give him credit for that. No matter, he can't be lying completely, because he's collected a bunch of oddities.
That's true.
But he is a showman, just got to keep that in mind.
That only means I'm great at what I do, and the world should know. I have collected our strongman, not just any strongman, but he has a magical element as well with his hammer, given to him by his father. We have our sword swallower, not just any sword swallower, but Slice can take on any sword. He is the master of swallowing. We have
Sorry, kids.
what? We have our
Master of the Double Entendre too.
fire breather, Scorch, the most flaming man in existence.
Oh boy.
Do you see the way this man can spit? Several feet. And then we have Athena, the mermaid.
Nothing to add about that.
I don't know what you all are expecting. I'm just describing our oddities. No, Athena the mermaid actually was my most difficult attraction to acquire.
Well, it would be if it was a real mermaid.
It is a real mermaid.
Spoilers.
What are you implying? Are you trying to say
Like I
my
said-
acts are not...
You're a big fat phone.
I mean, like I said, he is a showman at heart, but there's one thing that's very clear. He loves all the oddities. They're like
Absolutely.
like his children, and he cares for them deeply. That's 100% authentic.
Greatly. Absolutely. Care for all my children.
So, Mike, what was it like filming Tone, the singing, the dancing, the showmanship?
I was hospitalized due to my ears bleeding.
What?
No. I mean, we haven't really done much with your character yet. We still
Who's
got.
that guy?
We still have to do some photo work with the Zunder character. But I mean, Zunder will be the guy delivering most of the hints, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. As the ringmaster of the show, he's gonna be the one.
He's kind of
he
the
commands,
one,
kind of, yeah.
pushing the players around.
Yeah.
But he's only really in the beginning of the game and at the end of the game. You don't see him much.
Presence is felt throughout.
Yeah, I mean he's there, but
but-
like as far as what you see on the stage during the game for the 2 hours, he's at the beginning of the game to welcome you, and then he's at the end of the game to thank you for playing.
It's a bookend.
Yeah. But it sets the tone of the game.
Right.
He was the first costume made.
Right.
The wardrobe of Zunder was designed and created by Vicky Butler, and she did a phenomenal job with the outfit. And it was completely 100% tailored to fit me, so I do have my very own custom-sized Ringmaster costume for life. The hat's a little tight, but my head gets bigger every month, so.
Not every hour.
But it was a blast to play the character, and then Frank found the cane,
Right.
which we really worked into the opening performance. So there's a little bit of like cane twirling in the opening and whatnot.
it's a fun performance.
And the players are going to get some insight into his adventures and his mind, because they will find his files on all of the oddities, and I don't want to give anything away, but so you will get a peek into some of his adventures, at least the ones that he claims to have had, and what he thinks about his friends.
We've highly considered a mini-series of Zunder acquiring the oddities.
I still think we should do some video work for that.
We need
be
different
like-
hats
be
and
like-
stuff.
No, I think you should always just kind of keep that.
It's always the top hat, but it's like a safari outfit.
It has the
and-
little flaps on the side
Yeah.
when it's snowing, and the little the dome around the front, the rim instead.
the hat and
when
the
it's in
cane,
desert.
and the.
But it's always a top hat.
Always the top hat, always the cane, and everything else changes to the environment would be quite hilarious.
I think if we did it like reel to reel footage from like the 30s in that kind of like handheld newsreel style. Like those old crappy Tarzan movies from the 30s. It was like
as a silent film almost.
Yeah, it's like
you could hear the real.
yeah,
going.
but, you have like this very showman narrator narrating it like newsreels in World War II and stuff. And
Here's
it's
Toad.
him wrestling a snake. Punching two bears in the face.
You asked for behind the scenes. This is the creative process.
This is how we whittle down our ideas into manageable ideas.
To a degree.
But you can see how much we enjoy the character and want to work with the character more.
And realistically, Zunder's probably the most or the least, should I say, focused characters in the experience.
Yeah.
So if we're that excited about that, then
Yeah.
imagine how excited we are when it comes to the fire breather, the sword swallower, the mermaid, the strongman. All these characters kind of having their big moment, which actually. If you check out freakshowmusicalescape.com, you will find the ensemble cast photo.
Yeah.
So that is now officially live on the website. Again, that's www.freakshowmusicalescape.com. Tickets are available and selling out like crazy, especially since yesterday. So moving on into escape room news of the week. We have the Queen's Escape. What's that about?
That's interesting. So Buckingham Palace is currently undergoing renovation, and they decided to take the Queen's Art Gallery and turn it into an escape room, which sounds like a really fascinating. It just shows how
Fascinating, dangerous.
It just shows you how much escape rooms have permeated everywhere. Like Buckingham Palace is going to have an escape room, and it's based on the works of Leonardo da Vinci. And that just sounds really interesting. Kids aren't allowed because I think it actually you with the real artwork. I think.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
So they
Bold.
yeah.
That's what I was saying by the dangerous part.
It sounds like a really interesting idea. I'm sure they're going to be watching people closely when they're in there, so it's not going to be a tear things up escape room. But
there's going to be that one 50-year-old couple that sex in Buckingham Palace is on their bucket list.
I would strongly recommend putting duplicates of the painting.
Instead of the bucket list, it's the bucking list.
Boo.
puns. But that sounds fascinating. It's only from now through October, so if you're going to be in merry old England and seeing Buckingham Palace, you might want to consider doing that because it sounds like it sounds like a very unique thing.
I was a little confused by the price point though. It was like $190 for 4 to 8 people.
Yeah, it sounds like you pay by the group.
Right.
So $190.
It's a minimum of 4 people, a max of 8, but you can bring anything in between.
But it's still $190.
Yes.
That's not bad at all things considered.
Yeah.
I also believe it's temporary.
It is. Yeah, it only runs, like I just said, it only runs through early October.
Yeah.
So you should definitely, if you're in England anytime between now and then, or you live there or whatever, definitely check that out because I think that would be really interesting. And then let us know about it too, because I would really like to hear about how that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, things we'll never be able to hear about how they were.
Yeah.
Mad Hunger Burns the Wick, the Lionsgate immersive park.
Yes.
That was supposed to open in Times Square, apparently.
Yes, which is another very interesting sounding thing. But there was going to be a immersive park in Times Square based on Lionsgate properties, which include Hunger Games, Mad Men,
John Wick.
John Wick, yeah. So there would have been some really cool ones.
How do you blend all that? Well, actually, it was the Mad Men was the lounge.
Right, yeah, it was like a Mad Men lounge, and I think
John Wick was a ride. But I mean, what is that? Do you just kill half of New York City in close quarters gun combat?
What was VR? Hunger Games?
I think the Hunger Games was VR. I think it's here actually.
Yeah, the John Wick game was
Hunger Games Flying Simulator. I don't even know how that would work. Dauntless Challenge Course. That's from that other YA series that the movies didn't quite get anywhere. No, not Maze Runner. Divergent.
Divergent.
Yeah.
Yep.
And John Wick was going to be a shooting ride. Yeah. So could have been very interesting, but apparently didn't.
It's like the Buzz Lightyear Disney ride. You just go through with the little laser guns. Shoot.
But we've had some history with talking to people about Times Square.
Sort of.
Things.
Yeah. There was a point in time where we were trying to fund our film productions. And one of the groups we had spoken with, they're no longer in existence, but it was a group called Seventh Level Entertainment.
Right.
And they were putting us into a portfolio of several entertainment projects that they were going to raise money to fund.
Right. And
they had just claimed that their parent company was funding everything and gave us contracts, and it was all bullshit.
But one of their centerpieces of their portfolio was that they were going to build this indoor roller coaster in Times Square.
Yep.
Yeah. And so there's been a history of people trying to get attractions like that in Times Square, and it's still not quite happening for whatever reason.
Listen, before Toys R Us officially went to bankruptcy to resurrect itself under whatever hell Jeffrey's Toy Box or whatever the frig they're calling themselves now, coming
Just
into the new
Christmas,
holiday season. Yeah. Toys R Us was in Times Square for the longest time. They couldn't even cut it there.
Yeah.
The rent is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Anybody who wants to go into Times Square needs to probably have $1 billion in the bank per year.
And Lionsgate has other attractions around the world. Like they run the Saw escape room in
Yes,
Vegas.
yeah.
They run a couple things overseas that are similar to what they want to do here. It does sound like that this one was going to be more ambitious than those, though. It sounded like
Especially because it's multifaceted. Yeah,
Yeah.
You've got multiple IPs that you're all that you're bringing all together. And Lionsgate does a lot of like haunt attractions too.
Yeah.
Based in all of their horror IP.
But Times Square is for kids now, so
Right.
they're staying away from that.
How times have changed.
Yeah,
Yeah. Where's the naked cowboy? Is he still there?
He's still there.
I think he is
And the
still
naked
there.
cowgirl?
I don't
But
know
they're not
about him.
actually naked.
But
anymore.
I was referring more to Times Square in the 70s and
Yeah.
the 80s.
Oh yeah, well, it
And
was
part of the 90s.
Pre Giuliani, yeah.
nothing but triple X
Giuliani Times
stores
Square.
and
Yeah.
Back when New York had charm.
back when New York looked like the strip of Gotham in year one when
Pretty
he's
much.
walking down the strip. Yeah. All right. Well, another jail escape.
Right, but this one actually takes place in a real jail, or it did take place. They only had it for the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Um,
small jail.
Right, probably a pretty small jail, but still the fact that it's a real jail kind of makes it cool. But also it's meant to educate, so that's one of our ongoing themes here. So in the Simpson County Bicentennial celebration this weekend, the Historical Society opened a little escape room in their jail, based on what sounds like it was like a real case, and the players had to escape from jail.
Pretty simple.
Pretty straightforward.
Straightforward.
It was only for the 4th of July weekend, but it definitely, again, sounds like a unique experience that you would have been having to escape from a real jail, not like a made-up jail, but what was a real jail, and learn something about the history of the town in the process.
The fact that it was a real case is cool.
Yeah.
You know, that you're not just doing this like whole made up storyline, it was actually factual.
Right. And yeah,
documented.
and then the fact that it was a real jail and not a prefabricated jail or whatever, an escape room
Yeah.
jail. Well, it was a real jail.
Our location in the Poconos, when we moved in, it was the prior occupants were an escape room that went under.
Yeah.
And one of the games that they had there was a jail escape.
Oh yeah.
And it was sheetrock drywall walls and wooden bars going across. It was like such a shady made jail set.
Right.
So yeah, there's some authenticity to this. The fact that you're actually really in the jail, and it was dirt cheap to play. I think it was like $10.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how for how long it was. I don't know if it was like an
wanna say
hour
it's like
room
a-
or
oh,
probably
okay, yeah, yeah.
probably less. But yeah,
no
unfortunately,
idea.
yeah, it was only for the weekend, so but it was still cool.
Now I know that there are other escape rooms where like it's old penitentiaries and you could
Right.
overnight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. That might be something to talk about on a future episode.
Yeah.
Is overnight escape
I
rooms.
wonder when Halloween season comes,
Yeah.
how many are going to do that? That's going to be
Yep.
something to be on the lookout for.
So, our last big news topic of the day, which we'll probably spend some time on because we have a big history with this, is the Stranger Things alternate reality game.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, we were just talking about before the show aired that the news story that was the company that was covering it kept calling it augmented
Mashable,
reality
actually.
game. And augmented reality and alternate reality gaming are two very different things.
Two very different.
I will explain. An augmented reality game is the Harry Potter game.
Right.
So Wizards Unite is 100% an augmented reality game. You're using an interface in your phone or tablet or whatever to create basically a layover of the real world. And using that to, further your story and gameplay and in-game
Make
elements.
it look like the in-game elements are in your place.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas an alternate reality game is kind of a cross-platform story that takes place completely in the real world. No overlays. You're using phone numbers. You're using real email accounts. You're using fictitious websites that are really on the web. You're using physical locations for scavenger hunt elements. After we had gotten out of the film industry, we had really dove headfirst into alternate reality gaming. And the first company that really, kicked the shit out of this was 42 Entertainment. 42, if you look them up, they did this amazing campaign for The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. and Christian Bale, and all based around. It was called the Why So Serious game, and I remember I was working a side job and had to drive someone to the JFK airport, and ended up killing time at your house, and we were playing the Why So Serious campaign. So it was so much fun and addictive, and it's all solving puzzles, but using real world elements.
Yeah.
Stranger Things is doing that. We haven't seen a good alternate reality game in
a while now. Yeah, maybe since Why So Serious.
No, there has been attempts,
but not.
But nothing that's really picked up any massive steam.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that on the screen right now we have a phone number there, and if you're looking to get involved in the Why So Serious, in the Stranger Things alternate reality game, you can start by calling that number. How did that number come about? Well, it actually came about through Baskin-Robbins commercials.
That's pretty cool.
Because no spoilers. I'm actually still one episode from the season finale.
Did you read that article? Because it kind of spoils the end of the season.
Yes, but the elements it spoiled, I actually already knew, unfortunately, going in.
Yeah.
But for our viewing audience, I won't spoil any further, and that's why I actually did not put a link to the article in this video. In this new season, one of our main characters is now working in a brand new shopping mall that opened up in Hawkins. Hawkins is the town that the show takes place in. And what this show really loves to do is play on your nostalgia. And this season takes place in the 80s, where malls were starting to take over downtown America. And in the 80s, the concept was people were afraid that the malls were these monsters coming to take over and destroy their downtown cities. In the show, they use that less metaphor and real situation. The mall is there to destroy Hawkins. And you find out things about. But anyway, one of the main characters is working in a Baskin-Robbins in the mall.
It's actually a Baskin-Robbins. I thought it was just like kind of an equivalent of Baskin-Robbins.
I don't remember. Probably they have to wear these ridiculous sailor suits in the show and whatnot. And so there's this whole series of Baskin-Robbins tie-in commercials to Stranger Things, and you'll find this phone number in those commercials. I'm sure you can YouTube them.
I think it was done by Morse code, actually.
Yes.
But on the commercials and stuff you can get in real life at Baskin-Robbins.
Right. So you'll find this phone number, call it, you're going to have to present a code word. Not telling you what the code word is. I know what the code word is, but you will have to find the code word. And you'll probably have to watch the show.
Right.
To find the code word.
And you probably want to finish the season before really diving into the game.
Well, I think that this alternate reality game is actually for season 4.
Yeah.
Which will be October 2020. That's not officially announced by Netflix, but this show has a trend of they do July, October by their seasons. So it will not be October of this year. It will be October of next year where the new season will probably come out, and it will probably be the final season. The Duffer Brothers have been very public about the fact that they had a 4-season arc for this show. Beyond that, as stated, I believe in a couple articles I've read online, the creators have always been worried that the show will lose its charm once the kids are too old. Once they're all adults, it doesn't.
Have they been aging with the show, or is it the show picking up like days later each season?
No, the show usually picks up as a summer later.
Okay, so approximately the same.
Typically, the kids go away for summer and then come back to the town and so forth.
And every time they come back to the town, something horrible happens.
Well, what's funny is I actually said this while Jess and I were watching the show, is this town has Gotham syndrome, where it's not believable that anyone would live here anymore. You got these major supervillain types taking over.
It was getting that way with True Blood after a few seasons. It was like every time Anna Paquin's around, something horrible happens. She literally was away for a year, and everybody was fine, and then she came back, and everything went to shit again.
One thing that this show has done pretty well, though, is that, the first season is really all about the character of Will. Will is this kid who who basically disappears. And it's all about trying to get Will back. And then Will in season 2 is a host for the villain. And then they get it out.
Right.
Season 3, it's a different set of hosts. They've changed this up. It's not like it's just rehashing that every year the same people are attacked and the same things happen.
But the kids just happen to get involved.
The kids know what happened in this cover-up. So, they see the signs happening around them, and they're coming to the rescue of new characters, so to speak. And, 11's basically an X-Men superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, Marvel, now that you have X-Men, watch this show to see how to really handle mutant powers, because 2 scenes of this kid 11 kicking ass with her powers dwarfs everything they've done in X-Men.
Well, the problem, not to get too off track, but the problem they had with X-Men is they had too many characters. They have 1 mutant character on Stranger Things. You can do that a lot better than having 10.
Well, I mean, it's more about writing the ensemble. And I think this show does a pretty solid job of giving everyone their moments. I mean, maybe it's just because it's TV and not film. But even the X-Men movies in general were just like, here's Wolverine, and then they just ignore everybody else. So, I mean...
Which actually just came out that they were going to have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in Dark Phoenix, even though the timeline in no way, shape, or form added up to that.
It's probably for the best.
And the reason it got pulled was because one of the producers came in and was like, it's way too creepy to have Hugh Jackman hitting on the new Jean Grey. She's too young.
Oh, they were going to have that happen?
Yeah, but Jackman's like 50-something, and Sophie Turner's like 20?
20?
Yeah, but theoretically, Wolverine hitting on anyone then is creepy because he's like 100.
He's very old, but yeah.
but he looks 50, and he looks like an adult.
Right. Yeah, I do believe this alternate reality game is completely moving towards the next season.
Yeah.
And the first segment of this campaign probably will end this week.
Which, that's very interesting that they would do it on the tail end of season 3. So, yeah, like you said, that it's going to end this week, and then they'll probably have a continuation right before season 4 launches.
They'll probably have a continuation somewhere in the middle, and then a final element. Like Why So Serious had segments where, it'd be like, come back soon, or, I remember one of the best ones was the melting candles in the pumpkin, and counting down to the next segment when, as the pumpkin kept melting. By all means, Google the Why So Serious campaign. You could actually still play through parts of it, and it's really fun.
Because that was the apex of the ARG game.
Yeah. So with this Stranger Things element, I think, this season has, for the first time ever, an after credits scene. So if you haven't finished watching, stick around for the after credits scene. It's important for season 4. And the ARG is playing right into it. So... yeah, it's definitely, I think, going to be a fun game, and I already started taking part in this first quarter of it.
It's good when a TV series has a distinct plan and can do links like that will follow through to the next thing.
100%.
Yeah.
So if you end up, joining us, jump into the Stranger Things alternate reality game and comment below and let us know how it's going for you. We could kind of all play it together. And see how it goes. We should just put it up on Escape Stream. Talk about stealing IP. But no, it's a lot of fun to play these if you've never played an alternate reality game, and especially if you haven't. 42 Entertainment does have case studies of all their different games and stuff like that they had ever done. So check it out. It's really cool. If there wasn't alternate reality games, we wouldn't have made Find Me.
Right.
Because Find Me really, our first live streaming escape room game was based off an alternate reality game, and how could we take it to the next step? And, real actors in real video live. So that was how we kind of came up with the context of that.
And that's what made the transition to escape rooms pretty easy.
Yeah. Yep. So when people ask, where did our history in this industry come from? Film production meets alternate reality gaming.
Yeah, it was a transition from film to alternate reality gaming to our combination of that.
We were basically making a live stream alternate reality game, and then invited you into it instead of us streaming through it only. So, and now we do all of it. So yeah. Next week.
We'll be profiling another character from Freak Show. We're not sure which one yet, but we will. We say goodbye to F5 next week.
Next Sunday, right?
Yeah, F5 closes on Sunday, so on Monday we'll take a look at the past 2 years of F5 and reminisce.
That'll be a big focus. Do a lot of behind the scenes. Talk about our infamous corn stalks. Talk about
We can have PTSD all over again, kids.
Hypoallergenic hay.
You have fire-resistant paper. Yeah.
All those fun details. As we've said before, F5 is leaving, but maybe not for good.
Right.
But for good from Morristown.
Right.
I'm pretty certain of that. So, if you've played F5 with us, by all means, comment your favorite memory while playing, and we'd love to, relive it with you. So, we have plenty of awesome memories.
I guess spoilers allowed for that, too.
Yeah, because if it ever comes back, just like
we'll probably
QRZ,
change everything up.
Yeah, 3/4 of the game will be drastically different,
Yeah.
and even the other quarter will be changed. So, we will see you next week. Same time, same channel.
Yep.
Be sure to subscribe and like the video, share the videos, and all that fun stuff. We'll see you next time.
See you
Thanks
next
for
week.
watching.
Farewell.